Welcome to the third episode of the SFR SHR-Suite, an Ever Resi Media original series. We are your online BFFs who you can identify and share with. My name is Mindy Seeger, and I'm so happy to be here.
Hey guys, I'm Tanya Odell. Likewise, I am happy to be here.
Hey, Stacey Lusader, SFR SHR-Suite.
Stacey, Tanya, and I are excited to welcome our very first special guest on this episode, Deanna Alfredo, the Senior Vice President at ZVN Properties, who has a very special announcement towards the end of this episode that talks about another incredible achievement in her long, prestigious career.
Thank you for having me. That's quite the intro. Let's see if I can live up to that.
Hey, welcome, Deanna.
Welcome. We're so happy that you're here to join us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I've been a little secret stalker as I see the little blips coming out on LinkedIn. I was like, what are they doing now? And how do I get there? So I'm so excited.
And now you're here.
I am very, very flattered. Thank you.
Well, today we want to talk about, the challenges that property owners, managers, investors, especially women in our industry, to rethink or define resident satisfaction. I mean, Stacey came up with the great idea of what is home to you. And I kind of thought about it from an SFR perspective. And, we as women, we set the tone for the home. And what better for us to help set the tone for the resident experience in the industry, to help them feel safe, to help them feel seen, maybe something that they've never heard before.
Resident experience has always been near and dear to me. I took over our SFR team, 2.5 years ago. And, I think at that time, resident experience was something we started talking about. But I think, again, we talk about who we are as women. We always want everyone taken care of. We're the mama bears, whether we're moms to our teams or to whomever. And I came in and I thought, geez, that's our client. Like, sorry, Stacey, I know you guys pay our bills, but our client is the resident. And how do they feel? They have people coming into their home to look at things, and they have children in the house, especially these emergency opportunities as I look at it. It's Atlanta, Georgia. It's August. The air conditioning is out and they have a newborn. I work closely with my team to say, okay, let's do a role reversal. They're coming into your home with your child. How do you want to be treated? How do you want to be respected? And what kind of urgency do we have around that order? There's people and there's families. And that's what I've preached the Mama D spiel every day to my team. And that's so near and dear. I'm so glad you're talking about it.
Why I came up with it was because I just thought about it. I thought about, what is home to you? Home to me, the old streamers and tapes that are on the upper cabinets from birthday parties from my kid. It's stuff like that.
Great visual representation.
You know what I mean? I just noticed it walking by here. I'm like, how many birthdays do we have in here? Nobody takes it off. They just pull it down. They don't climb up on the chair. You know what I mean? And take it down. Home to me is I don't need extra chaos with a broken refrigerator. I don't need it. I really don't need it.
Right.
I want a safe and peaceful environment and nothing extra on top of that. That's it.
Exactly. We have all these stressors outside of that.
As women, I'm outside of my professional life, I'm a single mom of 3. 1 year away from having 3 in college at the same time. Oh gosh, I've rented for several years. And I've grown to appreciate it, especially, depending on who the landlord is and who the property management company is, right? But when you said refrigerator, Stacey, the first thing that I thought of is whether I own my home, which of course I have, or I'm renting my home. I'm the one that throws, no matter how nice your kitchen is, I have all the shit all over the fridge, right? Anything my kids did, I have their little magnets that they made when they were 4 that are ugly. The fridge is the same. In every house, that's my home. This is what matters to me. My niece, when she had her babies, their pictures are up there and their little artwork is up there and stuff like that. In my household, growing up, and my mom was someone who was a very strong female, and she ended up raising some grandkids, right? So I'm a firm, advocate for every family doesn't look the same. And when you have these rental properties and you have all of these unique families that are experiencing, they're living their life and their children or whatever their family looks like, right? you want them to feel safe. Home is home. It's where you go and you feel like you can be you and you're appreciated and loved and safe for the most part.
And it's definitely emotional. I mean, home can be healing or it can be harmful. And what we want to do is, as property managers, is support the home environment as being healing. And that really, the way that we can contribute it, because we don't live in the unit with the residents, but we can contribute to that experience by communicating well, responding to them immediately when they have issues. It's about how we handle them through the process when they have a need. And really that goes to even before they even move into the property, the whole move-in process, the move-out process, and then also the maintenance process when they're in those homes.
Definitely. You know, one thing that we do, to that point, is they understand somebody's coming out to fix something that's broken. We really try to communicate, this is what the next steps are. If we have to give an estimate, this means we're just going to get some information back to the client. They'll be very quick with approvals and explain, what are we going to do? They're not the people that know how to fix the problems, and the more information we can give them to the hows and whys and explain if something needs to be ordered. They just know they need something. And the more that we can facilitate what's happening, I think that gives that comfort to them, that safe space to them, that they understand what's happening. They're truthfully important in the process, and knowledge is power.
When you go out to eat, you know, and your food's not right or someone's food's not right, and you hear them like blessing out the waiter, and you're like, well, they didn't make the food, you know. So, but it's important to always be communicating and share those reminders that the person that's coming out to do the estimate and all, they don't have the HVAC in their car.
Exactly.
I had a really good experience. I had to leave obviously, the other two ladies that I do this podcast with know my stories. But I left a situation and I went into a rental property sight unseen, and it was a tri-town property, and it was awesome. It was a really great experience. They were on it. You know what I mean? And I didn't have to deal with it. I was already dealing with a divorce and things like that, and moving my kids and the dogs and all this, other stuff. But yeah, it was really easy, simple, and I didn't need anything else.
Moving's stressful, and sometimes, like to your point, Stacey, it's scary and you don't know. So the more that we solve and bridge those gaps, that you are moving into a home. I love that the nomenclature in the space has gone from like rental to move into your next home, and creating those spaces where people stay year after year. I think that ROI is great and all these acronyms and the bottom line, but when you look at the bigger picture, there's a family choosing to stay in a property because they feel like they're at home.
That's right. And we're here to make sure that how they feel in those properties. We don't talk about emotions and feelings and things like that when we're talking about ROI, but essentially how these families feel in their home, emotionally safe. They feel secured, they feel empowered, they feel like they belong, and feeling a part of a community. And we as property managers and we as the companies that are serving them are essentially a part of that community that they feel secure in and they feel belonging in.
That's why I'm vetting our contractors so diligently. They're representative of the companies we work for. They're the ones that are going into these homes. I don't want any resident to feel intimidated or scared or nervous or worried or anything like that. We do a really good job with that.
We do a resident satisfaction survey at the end. It's really automated in our process. And I loved last week, we had a few results given with 5 stars, and they were able to input why. And it was the technician was professional and courteous, and he explained what was happening. So all of that put together, I think that explanation of what's going on, and just that courteous, being courteous. You are in someone's home. Are you cleaning up after yourself? Right? They're not trudging in with mud on their boots or leaving tools and situations. And that's all that respect factor when you're in somebody else's property.
You know what? When you do have a resident satisfaction survey that you send out at the end, you have to listen to what the residents are actually saying and act.
And I love that. You know what my favorites are? This sounds really weird, but like the negative ones, those are those learning tools. Those are somebody took the time The people that are middle ground and you don't hear from, those are challenges. You don't know what's happening. But I know that myself or my manager, we love to hop on those. We personally reach out and say, what can we do better? In some cases, it's educating about the process that, hey, we're going to take care of you. We just couldn't do something today because we need further approval. Or the technician went through here very quickly and I don't think he looked at it well. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to send them back and have them do a double check. What can I do to make that resident feel we gave quality service when we were there? So to your point, it's like listening and then taking action.
On the surveys, are they anonymous?
It's linked to the property address because of how the system's set up. And so it correlates if they're saying, hey, something wrong with my AC or that particular item. But there is a way to give feedback in an anonymous basis as well.
At ZVN, do you have like a line where residents can call in or something where it is like a third party?
We do. Yes. Yep. So we do have kind of more like a feedback inbox as well as a particular phone number where we encourage them to give feedback if they see something out of line, if they have suggestions or improvement. So we do have that on the work order level as well that they see in our technology. So there are different means of communication where they can reach out and give feedback.
Those scores, they can come in, and what we do is we look at them holistically, right? So we can pinpoint what cities, what markets, what field teams need opportunities and look at it like that in that way, right? Is it isolated to one market where we have to coach up some people? Or is this like a bigger kind of message that goes around? That's another point of having those.
Exactly. Yes. And it's good to know particularly, right? To your point, or sometimes what I love to do is holistic coaching, where this one team experienced this. Now let's be on the lookout for that. What steps are we putting into place that we don't encounter that again? We might get it in Atlanta, but what's happening in Chicago and learning from that, it might not apply to that market or that trade, but every one of those experiences, I think we can pull something away to train and coach and continue. It's daily. Never stops, but that's okay.
It's true. I think when I was thinking of when we're talking about emotion and then how long the residents are actually staying in the properties, I heard a stat recently that it's creeping up on 4 years is the average, which is great. But it's also, when I think about it I did years and years of business development and growth for third-party property management companies, right? Not necessarily owner-operators. And when you think about it from that aspect, that's very valuable to that owner-investor that's allowing you to manage their home too. When you do all of these things for their residents and their residents feel safe and they're staying longer, that is a big value add to you as a property management company when you're bringing on new owner and investors. Because a lot of times those owner and investors, that was, some of them are professional investors, right? And some of them are accidental investors, or it was their house and their mom passed away and now they have it. So they have an emotional attachment to this home.
I agree. I think it's also important to have avenues for communication from the tech. Maybe they're noticing something, maybe they need to provide additional information, maybe they're there to fix a refrigerator, but they also see that there may be some other items that maybe not necessarily the resident recognizes, but they recognize it need to be addressed to be more proactive. And also just having that feedback that if they see that there's something wrong or something needs to be addressed, or maybe a lot of the times the residents maybe feel comfortable enough with the tech to share some concerns or share some things about the property.
Absolutely. And I look at it as if, again, the techs in the field are boots on the ground, an extension of everything we're doing. And while they might carry right now the ZVN name on a work order, we're servicing the end client and really connecting all the dots. And my teams we really encourage them. What if you go into a property and you see, wow, there's like some dogs on site or 3 families living or a health and safety issue that might not be reported, that might be harming the property. There's a way to do that where you're not disrupting the resident, but giving some good feedback. And then additionally, I always tell the residents, we're not out there seeking more work, but if a resident has a deep concern, they'll say to our technician, well, while you're here, I have this issue in my bathroom, the faucet is doing this leak. we always encourage them that while we can't look at it today, I know there's a means for you to put in another repair ticket, be very detailed, and just reach out to your property manager. They'll be happy to facilitate that for you. We just don't have permission today to look at it, but we can pass along the information. We also have to be a good ambassador and pass along information and let the resident know they have different opportunities.
That's so true. And our clients as well. And I see when you talk about scope creep, it's definitely an issue in the industry, but I also see the information that we're providing and giving back to the client. If there's an understanding of that client that, hey, we're not trying to overbill, we're not trying to bid something that doesn't need to be addressed. We're trying to provide information and give you a tool to make good, educated decisions about that property. Now let's talk a little bit about the power dynamic, the unspoken power that landlords hold, that women in the industry. Do you have any examples of, as a woman, what you've done in the past or what you think women can do more of to really enhance the industry and enhance the resident experience?
Wow, how long do we have?
I know.
Right? Darn it. This is one of my most fun topics. I've been doing maintenance for 20 years. I came from the default property preservation side of that. And when I started my business in the early 2000s, I came from a law firm and some other areas. And I came to the table, went to a conference with business cards and a website and a customer service attitude. And my competitor, I love the guy in camouflage in the truck, right? But he was in the field all day. He couldn't facilitate customer service. And I very quickly saw our niche, and our power is the ability to multitask, think at high level detail, and put things together and hire the right people for the job. I think that's the biggest power we bring to the table, and our skill set's just a little different. My husband and I get into these detailed conversations, and even the owners of my company, where we'll just say, women are just built a little bit different. We look at things a little bit differently. And I think that's always been kind of like our secret power. Watch
Absolutely.
out. We want something. Do not get in our way.
I think it's our superpower. We have superpowers that we need to build off of to help the industry. And I think that's why we do this podcast. Is just one of the ways we can support women, amplify their voice, and give them the confidence and the power to speak up, because we do deserve a place at the table, because we do bring that value.
For us, multitasking, and I call it sometimes compartmentalizing, whatever it is, it's just innate. It's just, so it just becomes natural, and you don't even realize that you're doing it. Do I not have anything going on, or are there no expectations of me right now? Because all of a sudden I'll feel like, that's a topic for another day, but I'll feel like, wait, did I forget something? Because I'm just not accustomed to having no expectations. It'll be like a random Sunday, and I'm like, am I supposed to be somewhere or do something for somebody?
Because we operate at such a high amount of stuff that we have to do, that if one of them falls off the list, all of a sudden it's like rattling, right? Okay. And then there's also guilt. I always feel guilty on the weekends if I'm not out doing something. Why do I do that? I have no idea why I do
That's, again, another topic.
Yeah.
And I think to that topic, right? It's our kids are getting older. Well, I have a 22-year-old and an 8-year-old. So I'm living this duplicative life. But to your point, as the kids get older and they get in college, you're kind of like, my son played 2 sports. He played college football, and he's done with all of that. He's becoming an electrician. And it's kind of like, oh, wow, there is a lot of spare time. But I think that's when we kind of can not reinvent ourselves, so to speak, but maybe spend some me time. You get pulled in all these directions, being especially Stacy, hats off to you and both of you, like being a single mom. I was a single mom for several years, and it's just, we get pulled in a lot of directions, and maybe it's sometimes great to shift gears and have a little us time if we can.
I've mastered that. I've learned it. I swear I've learned it. I have my time. The older kids, you know what I mean? They're off working and doing things. And I'm an artist, and so I get to work in the garage and things like that. And I go walk out there and I turn on the strip, and all the lights come on and the music comes on and the fan comes on, because it's hotter than hell here in Arizona. But that's my me time.
What kind of art do you do?
I'm a metalsmith, so right now I'm focused on jewelry.
That's so impressive. That's so cool.
That's my me time. That works that side of my brain. So during the day, it's all, corporate and, all the good fun
Love
stuff that I love. And then I just go and check out.
She's got some incredible pieces.
Yes,
definitely.
I picked up
Deanna,
golf.
thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, golf, really?
Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, that's how I beat the guys. When I started my business, I used golf in business and became a junkie, but that's a whole different podcast. That's where Gregory found me.
Yeah, we will definitely have to talk about some extracurricular things that we do when we have our me time.
Since we're kind of getting close to the end of our episode, to talk about your big announcement, Deanna.
Yeah. So as of Tuesday, we are becoming Genstone Field Services. And what that means is we've been acquired by the Fay Group and underneath the Genstone brand. So ZVM properties will be exactly the same. Our name changes to Genstone Field Services, but the differentiator is we have the power of the Genstone brand behind us with some of the systematic things that we do and support that way. And then being part of the Genstone family, we have a whole flywheel of services, insurance, financial tools, property management, and some other things we can offer to our clients. So it's super exciting for us. We went from a, sole entrepreneur, single owned business to a more corporate entity with a lot of great opportunity and support. I've already attended my very first SVP training with 18 peers for 2 days. It's just great to have that extra level of support and be able to kind of build on your skill set and have some resources. So it's a super exciting time for us.
Congratulations. That is amazing.
Thanks.
Yes, congratulations. So excited for you. So excited for Genstone. So happy that they have you helping to lead that effort. I just have so much respect for you. I know you and I both kind of come from the REO side of the business and have been kind of buzzing around the same circles for so many years, but finally we're able to start building a friendship this past year. So it's been fantastic to have you on this podcast.
Thank you so much. I feel the same. It's great to meet all you women. Again, I always super stalk you on LinkedIn. I will continue to do so. But it's great to have a personal time with
we stalk you back, and it's just wonderful.
Really appreciate being on today as well. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in today, guys. And if you're in the Atlanta area on October the 9th, we're going to have another happy hour meetup, and it's going to be hosted by Dale Tile. And we're super pumped to partner with them for this meetup. We had a blast last time. So if you're in the area, let me know. I'll give you the details. We'd love to have you.